Good evening. Hello, it's John Weber. And welcome to Mr. Weber's Web O Mystery, a show I have literally wanted to do since I was a child. Because I remember asking my brother, my older brother, like, how come that guy on TV gets to introduce the scary movies and be the scary host? Like, how do you get that job? And my brother said, you don't. You'll never be able to be that guy. Yeah, my dreams got fostered is a word I want to use, but it's not true. Crushed would be the right word. My dreams got crushed on a regular basis when I was a child. And media has changed a lot over the years. So even though this is a teeny tiny little show on the great big internet, I still get to be a horror host. And I still get to say hello to the people in the chat who are watching. Hello, Raphael. Thanks for being with me, pal. Tonight we're still doing early October programming. So this is a combination of a mystery and also some supernatural. And it gets more supernatural as we go. It does. Oh, you know what? I gotta allow Raphael to say hello to Spider Hat. Let's see if he can wave. There you go. Hey, Raphael. Spider Hat, the real star of the show. People love Spider Hat. If you don't love Spider Hat, boy, I'd like to hear from you because I can already tell this is going to get old. Been doing this for a little while now. It's going to get old. This tonight is an episode of what's called The New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Now, it's from 1946, and it starred the very popular Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson of the movies. And they, of course, were played by Basil Rathbone as Sherlock Holmes. And, oh my God, Nigel Bruce as Dr. Watson. Now, Nigel Bruce and Sherlock Holmes, played by Basil Rathbone, had great chemistry. They were really great for the movies. People just took to them. They just really loved them. And for many, many years, they were the definitive Holmes and Watson. I'm going to show you a little clip, and hopefully I won't get copyright strikes on this, but you know, it can happen. I'm not entirely sure it won't happen. So this is from YouTube. This is one of their short clips. So it's in this format. And let me cue it up for you. So let's take a look at, I believe it's Sir Basil Rathbone and Sir Nigel Bruce. So classy, gentlemen. Thank you for allowing us to watch you on the show. And here is a little clip of them doing that magic.
They didn't get it.
Didn't get it?
Where is it? It's in your hand. Huh? In that biscuit jar. Take the biscuits off the top. Now put your hand inside and you'll find the music box.
I love these too.
Well done, Holmes. Well done. Amazing.
They didn't get it.
All right, so that is business as usual for the classic Holmes and Watson. Now, let me show you, because we've got a wrinkle in tonight's show. I thought Nigel Bruce was in the episode of The New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, the radio show that we're listening to tonight. He, I guess, was ill. He had to take the night off. So one of the other actors they used, in fact, the actor who played Dr. Moriarty, filled in. And so that's who we'll be hearing tonight. Now, this actor's name is Joseph Kearns. And if you're a big old-time radio dork like I am, and Raphael, you might have known this too, Joseph Kearns has been in, oh gosh, so many radio shows. He was beloved. He was absolutely the favorite actor for so many producers. And I think you're going to see, no show. Basil Rathbone will be on the show tonight. Yes, Basil Rathbone, but no Nigel Bruce. Instead of Nigel Bruce, this actor is going to be playing his voice. And you've already heard Nigel Bruce, so maybe you'll be able to hear what I'm talking about. But here we go. I am going to show you Joseph Kearns. Tell me if you have ever seen a clip from this show before, if you've ever watched this show before. Actually, I know you have, Raphael. All right, here we go. This is...
Hello, Mr.
Right.
Wilson?
Jay Underwood.
This is Dennis.
That's Dennis.
I can't find Sam anywhere.
Oh, now, Dennis. Sam must be around that house somewhere.
Joseph Kearns.
I know, but I can't look good because Mom and Dad are hanging around. And if they catch Sam in the house again, neither of us will be allowed to be in the contest tomorrow.
Get into this.
All right, Dennis. You sit tight. I'll be right over. Oh, Martha!
Yes, dear?
Martha, we've got to get over to the Mitchells right away.
Oh, dear, is something wrong?
Well, you can say that again. I've got to help Dennis find his frog before Alice or Mitchell do. Or
So that is Joseph Kearns. I love Joseph Kearns. As Mr. Wilson, he had such a it's such a fussy voice and such a fussy delivery. Yeah, Raphael, Raphael is hip, and so is Showed. I'm glad to have both of you on the show with me. So here we go. We're about to start the episode. That's right. Mr. Wilson, John Atkinson, Mr. Wilson, Joseph Kearns is playing Dr. Watson. Now, let's see how well he did, because I'm going to spoil it for you. He did very well. Here we go. We're going to listen to our all right, share screen, John. It's so hard to do this show and direct it at the same time because I'm not that talented. I don't know if people have noticed that. Okay. We're using a recording from Choice Classic Radio. They are terrific. Here, I'm going to subscribe to them. What a great channel, and not nearly enough subscribers or likes for how good their shows sound. It's not going to be much of a visual feast. I'll give you that, but it sounds really good. This is a good copy of it. So here we go. The New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. And as Raphael has pointed out in the past, oh boy, wait till you hear the product and the commercials. They're really funny. I just love this show. Here we go. The New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, our episode, The Haunting of Sherlock.
Welcome to Choice Classic Radio. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and help keep this show alive by donating at choiceclassicradio.com. For more of your favorite old-time radio shows, join us on our companion podcast, Choice Classic Radio, Mystery, Suspense, Dramas, and Horrors, where we bring to you the most mysterious tales that the golden age of radio had to offer.
Oh, yeah.
And now, with 326 episodes made, broadcasting from 1939 to 1950, we bring to you The New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Petri Wine brings you Basil Rathbone and The New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The Petri family, the family that took time to bring you good wine, invite you to listen to Dr. Watson tell us another exciting adventure he shared with his old friend, that master detective, Sherlock Holmes. And say, if you'd like to try a new adventure in good eating, will you just make sure that your dinner tomorrow night includes a bottle of Petri California Burgundy. Petri Burgundy is the ideal wine with any kind of meat or meat dish. A Petri Burgundy is a hearty red wine, just as rich in flavor as it is in color. It's the perfect companion to a thick, juicy steak or a piping hot pot roast or a good hamburger. You know that Petri Burgundy has a happy faculty of turning a simple meal, like, say, a hamburger sandwich, into a feast. Believe me, here is a wine that's clear, fragrant, and delicious. A wine that you can serve to your friends proudly. Petri Burgundy. Remember, the name Petri is the proudest name in the history of America's wines. And now let's join our good friend, Dr. Watson.
I'm out here on the patio, Mr. Bartell.
Well, I see you're making the most of a wonderful evening, Doctor.
Oh, yes, my boy. It's pleasant to sit out here on a summer's night with a good friend and a pipe, a bottle of wine. Help yourself to a glass and sit down.
Oh, thank you, sir. All ready with tonight's new Sherlock Holmes adventure, Doctor?
Yes, and a strange story it is. It was in the autumn of 1899, Mr. Bartell, that I decided both as doctor and friend that Sherlock Holmes was in desperate need of a holiday.
He'd really been overdoing it, huh?
Oh, yes, my boy. It had been an unusually busy year, and at the time my story begins, Holmes was suffering from complete exhaustion. So, my boy, towards the end of October in that year, we found ourselves in the charming city of Kazanlak, capital of the small Balkan kingdom of Grozny. A few nights after our arrival, I remember Pavlu Krasnodar, Groznian minister of police, took us to hear the singing of a certain young Hungarian opera star, Miss Lily Rayner, who was then touring Europe. At our table was her fiancé, the charming young aristocrat Prince Stefano. And it was very easy to see as he sat there listening to the song that the boy was head over heels in love. It was a haunting melody that she sang, Mr. Bartell. I can almost hear it now. You're a very lucky man, Prince Stefano. Your fiancée's voice matches her beauty.
Oh, yes, Dr. Watson. I consider myself the most fortunate man in Grozny.
She has a magnificent voice, the finest singing I can recall since...
Since when, Mr. Holmes?
I was thinking of a prima donna of the Warsaw Opera who attained considerable success in London. Miss Irene Adler.
Oh, by George, yes. She was a criminal, one of the few that outwitted you, Holmes. Oh, that was a case that would have interested you, Mr. Krasnodar.
I'm familiar with it, my dear doctor. You are unusually solemn tonight, Krasnodar. Have a glass of wine, and I will bring Lily to our table, and we will toast our happiness. I'm afraid I cannot drink to that toast, Prince Stefano. Why not? Oh, I know why. You, the notorious lady killer of Grozny, are jealous. You're in love with Lily yourself. Oh. Prince Stefano, I have sad news for you. I have come here tonight, but for one purpose. To arrest your fiancée.
What?
You're joking. It is far from a joke. At my ministry, we have evidence, conclusive evidence, that Miss Lily Rayner is a spy.
Spy? Good Lord.
And the penalty for spying in Grozny?
Ah, that, my friend, is why I would drink no toast. In Grozny, the penalty for espionage is death.
Yes, I know, but Holmes, you must do something to save that girl. You can't just turn in for the night without trying to help her in some way. They might shoot her in the morning.
Krasnodar's no fool. Since he's made the arrest, obviously he has a watertight case against the girl.
I suppose so.
One last pipe.
You know, Holmes, I couldn't understand her fiancé's behavior. He didn't do a thing. Just stood there and let Krasnodar arrest the girl.
What could he have done? Krasnodar is commissioner of police. There was no point in arguing with him until the evidence had been examined.
I imagine the prince will try and pull some political strings. After all, Grozny...
Come in.
Who's this now?
Oh, you wish to speak to me?
Mr. Sherlock Holmes, I've come to talk to you about my baby. My name is Martha Greggett.
Your baby? Oh, Mr. Holmes doesn't...
Oh, my baby, she is 20 years old, and she is flaxen-haired and beautiful.
Oh, that's an entirely different matter. We'll be delighted to help you, delighted. Sit down, won't you?
On whose behalf have you come to me?
Poor Lily Rayner.
Lily Rayner? Well, that's the girl who's arrested tonight.
I am only her dresser. And yet I'm Martha Greggett. I'm her mother and father. I have toured Europe with her ever since she left Vienna.
She sent you to me tonight, I suppose.
Yes, Mr. Holmes. She said you would understand.
What does she mean by that, I wonder?
She said that Mr. Holmes would take care that a talent like hers should not perish, just because she had broken a few laws.
In other words, She wishes me to establish her innocence in the same breath as she confesses her guilt. I'm afraid I don't take that sort of plant. Good night to you.
Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, I am glad that you came to my office this morning. I can show you the proof of Miss Lily Rayner's guilt. As distinguished foreigners, I should like you to know that though the penalty for political crimes is swift and severe, we are most careful that the incriminating evidence is beyond question. You see these letters?
Yeah.
We found them sewed into the bodies of her gown.
Oh, good gracious me.
They're a series of highly dangerous letters from Joseph, the leader of the Revolutionary Party with whom she is obviously hand in glove. Here, you may examine them if you wish.
They look like Greek to me.
My knowledge of the Grosnian language is far from perfect, but these letters certainly seem to incriminate their owner beyond doubt.
You will observe that the letters have followed her to each of the cities in which she has been singing. All of them ask questions as to the military garrisons and the chances of a successful revolution. She has been a dangerous spy.
Yes, I can see that, sir. But even so, isn't the death penalty excessively severe, particularly for a woman?
Dr. Watson, the Balkan states are a hotbed of European intrigue. Our penalties must be severe, and we cannot make concessions to the sex of a culprit.
This man Joseph, the writer of these letters, have you been able to find any trace of him?
None. If only we could. But we have never even seen the man. However, we are fortunate to trap his assistant and apparently the lady of his choice.
The lady of his choice? But she was engaged to Prince Stefano.
Undoubtedly a blind. In her home, we found an unsigned love letter in English. It was in the same handwriting as these letters from Joseph.
Are you satisfied, Watson?
Well, I suppose.
Obviously, she's guilty. Well, there's no place for me in this affair, particularly when you consider that she made a virtual confession in sending her dresser to me last night.
I suppose you're right, but just the same. If you want to trap this man Josip, I should think you'd be wiser to hold the girl as a hostage. It might bring him on the scene if he's afraid she'll talk. If you hang her, you'll never find him.
Dr. Watson, in my country, we found that prompt justice gets the best results. And for your edification, we do not hang in Grozny.
No?
The death penalty is exacted at the hands of a firing squad.
And when is the execution to take place?
You have timed your visit well, my friends. Please to step onto the balcony.
Oh, dear.
I think that answers your question, Mr. Holmes.
Great Scott. Against the wall, blindfolded, with a firing squad before her. It's Lily Rayner.
Grosnian justice indeed moves swiftly, Mr. Krasnodar.
It has to, my friend. Capitano! Hospital?
Oh, great heavens, I can't watch this. I don't care what she's done. I don't want to see it.
Up! Two! Nurse! Up!
Oh, no. She's crumbled to the ground. Poor little thing.
What an artist.
Hard to see a woman executed even if she is a spy.
May all traitors to Grozny die as swiftly.
Oh, but what a loss. Her beautiful voice.
Yes, her beautiful voice. Shall we go in, gentlemen?
You know, Holmes, I can still see that poor girl as she crumbled before the firing squad.
So can I, old chap.
That's her song you're playing, isn't it?
Yes. The melody still haunts me. You blame me, don't you?
Blame you for what?
For not preventing her death.
Oh, of course I don't blame you, Holmes. The girl was guilty. Grosnian law prescribes the death penalty for her crime. After all, what could you have done about it?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And yet...
And yet what?
I wonder if she was right. I wonder if artistry such as hers isn't of greater value to humanity than spying in any cause.
There's not much good worrying about that now, is it? The girl's dead and buried.
Watson,
What's the matter, Holmes?
did you hear that?
I hear what?
I can swear that I heard the dead girl's voice. She was singing her song to my accompaniment.
Oh, dear. Your nurse must be in a very bad state, Holmes. Hearing voices indeed. You'd better turn in for the night.
Perhaps. Well, it may be more my conscience than my nerves.
I'll give you a sleeping draught if you like.
No, my dear Shepard. I'm all right. It's funny, though. I could have sworn that... Oh, well.
Play some more of that tune, will you, Holmes? Great heavens!
Uh-huh. You heard it this time, eh, Watson?
Of course I did. It was her voice. There's no mistaking it. Holmes, I don't believe in ghosts, and yet I could swear...
Listen.
Good Lord. It is her.
Avenge my death. Do not let them go and punish the kill me.
Who are you? Where are you?
In the air about you. Avenge my death.
Strike a match,
Sherlock
Watson.
Holmes.
Strike a match. Yes. Light the gas.
Look. There in the moonlight, moving past the window. It's the figure of that girl that was shot to death.
A match, Watson. I'll guard the door.
There. Gas is lighted. She's vanished, Holmes.
And not by means of this door. We're standing in front of it. And there's no other exit from the room.
Holmes, I don't like this. We're dabbling in the supernatural.
Stop trembling, Watson. Whatever the explanation for this may be, one thing at least I find quite fascinating.
And what's that?
It's the first time in my career that I've ever had a ghost for a client.
Dr. Watson will tell us the rest of his story in just a second, so I'm just going to tell you about a wine that adds the perfect finishing touch to a good meal. Petri California Muscatel. With its sunshiny golden color and its full aroma, you just know Petri Muscatel is going to taste good. And it really does. The flavor of big, plump muscat grapes picked when they're full to bursting with luscious juice. For the wine that everybody likes, serve Petri Muscatel. You know it's good if it's Petri. Well, Dr. Watson, so you had a ghostly visitor calling on you at the hotel that night, huh?
Yes, my boy, and I confess I was so badly shaken by the experience that I hardly slept a wink all night. Well, the next morning, after an early breakfast, Holmes and I located the proprietor of our hotel and began to question him as to the history of the building.
I've admired the architecture of this building ever since we came here. A house of this period would undoubtedly have been built with secret passages and staircases.
I confess that I know of one secret staircase there. There may well be others.
Indeed, and where's the one you know of?
Do you wish to explore it, gentlemen?
Oh, very much. My friend and I are most interested in such things.
Follow me, please. These stairs lead to our wine cellars. Thousands of feet have tramped up and down these steps. Only a select few know that behind this tapestry here... behind this tapestry, gentlemen, is apparently a solid wall. But the wall is not solid. You have a match, perhaps.
Oh, yes, of course. Here you are.
We keep a candle here in this niche for just such an occasion as this. So, please hold back tapestry, sir.
Oh, I've got it.
Thank you. Now, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth brick up from the stair. I press it so, and...
Look, Holmes. Great Scott, a section of the wall swinging out.
It's closing a stairway behind it. Ingenious.
There, gentlemen. Allow me to give you the candle.
But aren't you going to lead the way?
No, sir. I'm not going to lead the way, thank you. I've owned this hotel for 32 years, and yet I have never explored this stairway.
Why, sir? Is it reputed to be haunted?
Yes, it is supposed to be haunted. The candle, gentlemen.
Thank you. Yes, I'm much obliged to you. Come on, Watson.
I shall wait here.
I don't think I care for this, Holmes. Frightfully dark in here. Damp and mouldy, too.
Look, Watson. Look here.
Where?
This landing.
Landing? Nothing but dust and cobweb.
Closer, old chap. There's the faint imprint of a woman's heel here.
Oh, by George, yes. Shoes that have gone both up and down these stairs in the last 24 hours.
Exactly. And there's a reverse print over here. This, my dear chap, I think accounts for the appearance and disappearance of our visitor last night.
Yes, but Holmes, it was the singer, Lily Rayner. Yet we saw her shot yesterday morning.
Rubbish, Watson, rubbish. What have we to do with walking corpses? Come on, old fellow. Let's see where this stairway leads us to.
No, but then what did we see if we didn't see a ghost last night?
That, my dear chap, is what we have to find out. Wait a minute. Staircase ends here. That's strange.
Yes, and against a blank wall. That doesn't make sense.
And yet the entrance to this stairway was an apparent blank wall, too, remember? Let's see if the same formula will do the same trick here.
What was it? Oh, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, 4 bricks up from the step. I press so and... Open sesame!
The wall swinging back again.
What do we see? Another tapestry. A tapestry that seems very familiar.
Well, I should say so. This hidden door leads into your very own bedroom.
Exactly,
Holmes.
my dear chap. Now we know beyond doubt how the apparent ghost made her appearance last night.
Don't you suppose it must have been someone impersonating the dead
That,
girl?
my dear fellow, is a question that can only be answered by calling on her fiancé, Prince Stefano. Let's go over and see him at once, shall we? Prince Stefano, I'd just like to intrude upon your personal tragedy, but I must ask you a few questions.
Ask your question.
Did your fiancée have a sister who may have resembled her?
No. She had no living relatives at all, Mr. Holmes.
Well, tell me this. Who inherits her estate, sir?
Her dresser, a faithful old woman by the name of Martha Gregor, who looked after her for some years.
I see. Did Miss Rayner have an understudy?
As a singer, she could have no understudy. She was irreplaceable.
You say as a singer. Was she also an actress?
Oh, but yes, Mr. Holmes.
Oh, really? How very unusual for an opera singer.
Quiet, Watson, please.
The first time I saw her was in Tosca. She was not another baroness, but her performance was a very promising one, considering her age. In my country, of course, she was not able to appear in anything but opera because she could not speak Grosnian.
She didn't speak Grosnian. Now I have the answer.
The answer?
Yes, to what?
To this entire story, from the arrest of your fiancée to certain strange visitations at my hotel last night.
What do you mean, Mr. Holmes?
If you come to my hotel room tonight, my dear Prince, I can safely promise to make the whole matter clear to you. And I dare go a little further. I think that I can even help you to find consolation in your bereavement. Ladies and gentlemen, I can see that you wonder why Dr. Watson and I have asked you to come here to our hotel tonight.
As Minister of Police, I should be stupid if I did not realize that since your other two guests are the Prince Stefano and Martha Gregor, the dead girl's dresser, this meeting has some bearing on the execution of Miss Lily Rayner.
I should prefer to say her murder.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you please, I should like to make my own position in this matter quite clear. 2 nights ago, you, Martha, came to me on behalf of Miss Lily Rayner to solicit my aid. I, convinced that she was guilty, refused that aid. Yesterday morning, she died before a firing squad. Last night, her ghost appeared to me here in this room and asked me to avenge her death.
Her ghost? What nonsense are you talking?
It would be no surprise to me if her poor murdered soul came back from the grave to ask for justice, sir.
I saw her, my good woman, almost as clearly as I see you all now.
I agree with Krasnodar. To talk of ghosts is beyond belief.
Please let me finish. When I had this visitation last night, I decided to investigate the case thoroughly. I did so today, and I can assure you that Miss Rayner paid for a crime she did not commit.
What grounds do you have for saying that, Mr. Holmes?
The letters that were supposedly written to her were in the Grosnian language, and yet today Prince Stefano informed me that she could not appear in the theater here because she did not speak the language.
Those letters were sewed into her bodice, Holmes.
That's true, my dear fellow. And who was the only person who had the opportunity to do that? The same person who came to me 2 nights ago and succeeded in convincing me that Miss Rayner was guilty, her own dresser, and supposed friend.
Are you suggesting that
I'm suggesting that you inherited her estate on her death, and that you would have lost that inheritance if she had married and had a family of her own.
What do you have to say in answer to that, Martha?
That I am among madmen. This talk of ghosts proves it.
Very well, then. Let the ghosts support my theories. Hand me the violin, will you, Watson, old fellow?
Oh, yes, of course.
Thank you. And now, turn down the gas light.
Right you are.
That's it. And listen.
Yes. Yes. That's her voice.
And that's her figure standing there in the moonlight, even though she's dead.
Now what do you say, Martha? Aren't you responsible for her death? If a ghost can sing, I'm sure it can also talk.
I did do it. The letters belong to me. I sacrificed my own baby for gold. May heaven have mercy on my soul.
A confession in front of 4 witnesses. Why not take it away, Krasnodar? We'll testify later.
I will. Come with me, Martha.
I killed my own baby. I deserve to die.
Well, shall I turn up the gas, Holmes?
Ask Prince Stefano.
No, do not turn it up. I've seen and heard the ghost of my beloved when the lights were down. I'm not afraid. Please play her melody again, Mr. Holmes.
Aren't you afraid, Prince Stefano?
Why should I be afraid? Lily, my beloved, your spirit I know can be no evil one. I love it as I loved you living. The pleasure of love lasts but an instant. Love's regrets last for a lifetime. This is now my lifetime, brightened by your gracious ghost.
I'm sure this is a very touching scene, but it's getting dreadfully maudlin. All right, Miss Rayner. You may come from behind the tapestry now. Watson, old chap, turn up the gaslight. There's a good fellow.
Right you are, Holmes.
Prince Stefano, permit me to reintroduce you to your far-from-ghostly fiancée, Miss Lily Rayner.
Lily, my beloved, you're not dead.
No, I am not dead. Though I cannot see how Sherlock Holmes fathomed my secret.
And there, my dear young lady, you're in exactly the same boat as I am.
Surely the answer is obvious. You gave me the key yourself, Prince Stefano.
I did, but how, Mr. Holmes?
When you informed me that Miss Rayner had once played the title role in Tosca.
Tosca? What's that got to do with anything?
Consider
Holmes?
the plot, Watson. A minister of police who is very susceptible to a lady's charms arranges a false execution. Knowing Mr. Krasnodar's weakness, Miss Rayner, you prevailed upon him to do likewise.
Well, then the whole execution was a piece of pantomime. The rifles must have contained blanks.
That's right, old fellow. And what should have heightened my suspicion, Miss Rayner, was the fact that at the moment of your apparent death, Mr. Krasnodar quoted a line from Tosca. He said, "What an artist." I was not perceptive enough at the time to evaluate the remark correctly, I'm afraid. When the simulated execution took place, you were free, but assumed dead.
But why should I indulge in such a trick, Mr. Holmes?
You reasoned that had you come to me directly, I might easily have turned you over as a fugitive from justice. And when you decided to dramatize the situation and appear last night as an apparent ghost, you knew it would, well, at the very least, stimulate my curiosity. It would cause me to investigate the matter and possibly to learn the truth and clear you from suspicion.
Yes, but Holmes, if she's innocent, how about the love letter in English, which was in the handwriting of Josip, the revolutionary leader?
Well, I can see only one explanation for that. You, Prince Stefano, are that mysterious revolutionary Josip.
Stefano? Oh, no, that is not possible.
Mr. Holmes, you're a visitor in my country. I do not suppose you will be staying here much longer.
Stefano, all these months you deceived me.
Silence, Lily. Gentlemen, I hope for your own sake you will not be staying here much longer.
Oh, I've been threatened by far more imposing adversaries than you, Prince Stefano. I suggest that you leave my room. It's none of my business dabbling in Groznian political affairs. Your secret is safe. In any case, I came to Grozny for a holiday. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mr. Holmes.
On my soul, Holmes, if we were in London, you wouldn't behave in this offhand way.
But we're in Grozny, old chap, aren't we? Hand me the violin, will you?
All right, here you are.
Thanks. You know, Watson, I've only had professional dealings with 2 singers in my life. The first was Irene Adler, and she fooled me, oh, so cleverly.
And this singer tried to fool you and failed dismally. Seems to me the score's about even.
No, old chap, no. This one was an amateur. Irene Adler will always be the woman. Ah, well, I think that's enough excitement for one day, don't you? After all, I am supposed to be taking a holiday.
Doctor, that was a swell story. I'll bet that you were a lot more interested in the beautiful Lily than your story tonight would have us believe.
Of course I'm interested in a beautiful woman. But then what man isn't?
Yes,
But don't worry about me, Mr. Bartell. You know, being a family man, I just naturally associate a beautiful woman and home. And that makes me think of hospitality.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Well, according to you, I'm interested in home life. You're primarily interested in wine. Put us together, and we're interested in...
Wine in the home.
Isn't that an important part of hospitality?
That I admit. But remember, my interest in wine is entirely an interest in good wine. In Petri wine, to be exact. Because I know all about Petri wine. I know that the Petri family has been making wine for generations. With the Petri family, the growing of perfect sun-ripened grapes and the art of turning those grapes into fragrant, delicious wine is a heritage. It's a heritage handed down from father to son, from father to son. The skills of those generations of winemaking are evident in every drop of Petri wine. The name Petri on a bottle of wine is more than a trademark. It's the personal assurance of the Petri family that Petri wine is always good wine. But you'll discover that for yourself. You'll learn that no matter what type wine you prefer, you'll like it better when it's a Petri wine. Because Petri took time to bring you good wine. Well, Dr. Watson, what new Sherlock Holmes adventure do you have lined up for us next week?
Next week, Mr. Bartell, I'm going to tell you a most unusual story in which Sherlock Holmes crossed swords with a famous Frenchman and proved that although the English have been called a nation of shopkeepers, that a murder did not always prove to be a good bargain.
Tonight's Sherlock Holmes adventure was written by Dennis Green and Anthony Boucher and was suggested by an incident in the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle story, The Sussex Vampire. Music is by Dean Fossler. Mr. Rathbone appears through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and tonight Dr. Watson was played by Mr. Joe Kearns, who substituted for Mr. Nigel Bruce. Mr. Bruce is scheduled to return to the program next week.
I've never heard that one before. I'm really glad I got
The
to
Petri
hear
Wine
it.
Company of San Francisco, California, invites you to tune in again next week, same time, same station. Sherlock Holmes comes to you from our Hollywood studio. This is Harry Bartell saying goodnight for the Petri family. For a solid hour of exciting mystery dramas, listen every Monday on most of these same stations at 8 o'clock to Michael Shayne, followed immediately by Sherlock Holmes. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
That concludes today's episode. We'd like to thank you and remind you to donate at choiceclassicradio.com.
If you want.
Remember, your donations make episodes like this possible.
Big thank you to Choice Classic Radio. That is a really fine recording. Very good recording of that show. This would be the final year that Basil Rathbone played Sherlock Holmes on the radio. We do have to throw a little bit of the fine fellows. Organist is the VIP. I agree, Raphael. I totally agree. John Atkinson says, with Ina from the First Presbyterian on organ. Basil Rathbone would be replaced by an actor named Tom Conway. Tom Conway was very popular. Very good actor. Oh, yeah. And Raphael, you did know that. Tom Conway was next. Nigel Bruce would stay on for a little while as Dr. Watson. So he actually worked with more than one Sherlock Holmes. The reason why this show was called The New Adventures was because from 1930, which was a very early year for radio, to 1939, the series The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes was beloved on radio and written by a woman. And I am terrible because I really should have written down her name. Unfortunately, none of those shows are in circulation. None of them were ever recorded. They were done live. The scripts were thrown in the trash can, and that was it. That was it. That's one of the killer things about radio. It's very true with early movies as well. Some of them are just lost forever. We kind of know what they were, but we'll never be able to enjoy them again. So I do want you to be, very proud that you are going through these old shows and keeping them alive in your memory and your enjoyment. That's one of the reasons why I love old time radio. I hope you enjoy it that way too. Shode says, I've watched all the movies, but never heard these broadcasts. So very cool to hear. I agree. There's also a very, I couldn't really confirm this story, so it's kind of gossip, but apparently, the show was, really Nigel Bruce's second chance at playing Dr. Watson. See, what would happen in the movies, they were considered B movies. So they were filmed very quickly, not a big budget. The actors were worked really hard on a very short schedule. And the directors really had a lot of say about how the characters were played. And one of the great things about Nigel Bruce is he wanted to play Dr. Watson as he was in the books and the short stories. He loved those stories. He wanted to be a detective, just like Sherlock Holmes, because that is true to the character of Dr. Watson. He's a detective too. He's not as good as Sherlock Holmes, but no one is. And what happened in the movies, and maybe because it was so visual and they were working on, these long scripts, the directors would say, I want Dr. Watson to be funny. And what they would do would be, there was a quote that someone had, which said, if there was a scene and Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes would come in, Basil Rathbone is this genius, and yet Nigel Bruce, if there was a bucket and a mop on the set, the director would have, by the end of the scene, poor Dr. Watson with his foot stuck in the bucket, walking around in a circle, trying to get out. He basically turned Dr. Watson into like Shemp or Curly. He was a stooge. And this is something that bothered a lot of fans, but it really bothered the actor. It really bothered Nigel Bruce. So he agreed to do the radio show on one condition, and that is that they would make his character more and more intelligent as they went. And he did stick with the show for a very good long time. So I think he was very comfortable by the end of it. That is the happy ending to, our good friend, Sir Nigel Bruce. And I have to say, I was very pleased myself to find out that he did get the integrity of the character back in radio. I am so thrilled to announce the upcoming shows that we have here from the Weber Internet thingy. Thank you, John. It is a happy ending. So one of the things that we've got going on right now is, I'm just going to tell you right off the bat what's going on Web O Mystery, which is our Thursday night show. We got two more shows. Two more shows? How could that be? Hang on. Is that true? I'm sorry. You can't tell I'm looking at my calendar. Where I did not write anything down. Okay, well, I can tell you for sure, the next show is going to be an episode of CBS Radio Mystery Theater, and it's called Queen of the Cats, and it's a really good show. So next Thursday night, I hope you will be joining me as we listen to Queen of the Cats. I really dig this show. I think you're going to dig it too. Because we're a Thursday night show, and Halloween this year is on Thursday night. We're actually going to spend Halloween doing a special show in which I play for you War of the Worlds. This is something we did last year, and it was really a lot of fun. And I really hope that if there's anybody you know who hasn't heard War of the Worlds, who wants to hear it, I hope you'll come over to the Web of Mystery and we can listen to it together. We will do it as we do it, Retro Tiburon. Yes, the original with Orson Welles from the Mercury Theater. Retro Tiburon was with me last year when we did it, and some things went wrong. And I am not going to let those things go wrong again. But yes, Tiburon, it was an excellent radio cast. It is a legendary show for all the right reasons. So Thursday night, that'll be 10 p.m. on the East Coast and 7 p.m. here on the West Coast. We will be rolling the show. Now, there will be a pre-show for this one because I actually have a friend named Mike Sauter who has done a lot of research on the broadcast that panicked the world, as they say, which was the original broadcast of this show. And Mike is going to answer a lot of questions that people have about this show. I have a lot of questions that he will answer, and that'll be awesome too. So Halloween night, Thursday night, October 31st. I hope you will join us here at the Web of Mystery. You can listen to it live. You can listen to it at your leisure. Live, once again, 10 p.m. on the East Coast and 7 p.m. here on the Best Coast, as we sometimes say. What else can I share with you? We have got coming up this weekend, we've got the second episode of the trilogy, which we call the Triple-G. And that is, it's going to be fun this week. My good friend Joe Townsend and I, on Retro Trekkers, we will recap, and then you can join us with your review. Recap and review. That's what we like to do. And we're going to be discussing the animated series, TAS, to the dorks like me, More Tribbles, More Troubles, which is written by David Gerald, who wrote The Trouble with Tribbles. So it's going to be good. Even though it's kind of stiff animation, it's still going to be a good show. And we'll also be taking in the short trek. We won't be watching it, but we'll recap it for you. The Trouble with Edward. It came from the Short Treks series that was done about 6-7 years ago for Paramount. And it's currently on Paramount Plus if you have it and you want to go watch it. But I'm going to tell you right up front, neither Joe nor I love it. So it's going to be a hot take, hot mess when we talk about that one. However, I will say More Tribbles, More Troubles, the 1973 cartoon, I've just learned to love it over the years. And can I say Edward in Short Treks is played by H. John Benjamin, who played Archer, another show I don't really like, but I know a lot of people enjoy him. He's a funny guy. I knew him back when I was in New York. He's a very funny guy, and I'm happy for his success. But this is not an episode of Star Trek that I liked. But we'll be discussing it on Saturday, and I hope you'll join us for that and one more show to tease for you. Where are you? Where are you? There you are. It is a Halloween extravaganza on Sunday, because on Retro Rangers, we're going to have our good friend Diana J. Brody, and she is going to join us. We're going to watch a whole bunch of clips in which the machines take over the world. We'll be focusing a little bit on Maximum Overdrive. Don't want to get too many copyright hits from that one. We will be looking at The Car, which is a great late 70s, early 80s. I can't remember which year it was. That one's a lot of fun. And of course, my favorite, we're going to be looking a lot at Killdozer. Oh, I love me some Killdozer. So it's going to be great. Yeah, we got to throw some love to Stephen King. Joe Townsend, my good friend and my co-host, he is a writer very much in the tradition of Stephen King. So if you ever want to go to joetownsend.com, you should do that. I should have loaded up a commercial. I'm sorry, Joe. But joetownsell.com. I'm doing the live commercial, as we say in radio. joetownsell.com. A very good place. Yes, Diana is my friend from Ithaca, New York, Ithaca College. Schode says, I'm very ignorant to Star Trek, but I'll have to check out the TAS. It will be fun. There's so many little stories behind this little cartoon, actually big stories behind the little cartoon. I think you're really going to dig it. So that'll be great. I hope you'll join me for that. I love doing this show. I hate to say goodbye. I'm sorry. I'm so long-winded, but I do have so much fun doing this. So let me just wrap it up. Thank you very much for watching the show. And I hope you tell your friends. And I hope we have lots more shows ahead of us. We do. This is a really fun show to do. I don't know if Spider Hat is always going to be on my head. I really don't know. Teresa, are you still watching? This used to be Teresa's hat. My friend Teresa Secor joined us for a little bit. And this was her hat. Oh, she hated working with this hat. At the end, they said, hey, Teresa, do you want to keep the hat? And she said, no, I'm good. That's why I have it. So thank you so much. Thank you for being here, Raphael. Thank you, LT Barone. It means a lot to get a compliment from you, my friend, because you are so good at podcasting. You got to check out Retro Wave with LT Barone. It is the shiznit. And Raphael, retire the hat after Halloween. Schode wearing it well. Thank you very much, sir. LT Barone says, yep, hit the like on the way out, pals. Does the spider make you cook ratet? You know, always go out. And thanks for being with. I can't believe I snorted. I just snorted. Thank you so much. I've had so much fun. See you next week. Oh, what did you do, John? No, that's not what you meant to do. See you next week.